going on, y'all? I wanted to share a Sunday reflection with you. My birthday is coming up in a month. I'm getting old. I'm about to be 34 years old. Got white hairs growing out my beard. I'm sitting in my kids' room right now on the bunk beds doing their laundry. And I was thinking about how blessed I am to be a father and what that means to me and how becoming a father changed my life, actually saved my life. For the people that know me, like that really know me, they know I grew up a fighter. I used to fight all the time. Got my first fight in like kindergarten. I grew up, I was a pretty angry kid. I went through a lot of violence in my homes. And so I used to fight all the time. That's the only way I knew to manage conflict was to just let my hands go. Um, and as I went through life, that was always like my first answer to solving a problem. And it followed me into adulthood, you know. Once I got to college, uh, I felt like if anybody wanted to press me, they could get it. And I always had this like, hairpin trigger. I would snap into a fit of rage and just be ready to throw down with anybody and everybody. I didn't care how many people you had with you. I didn't care if you were the police and you had a badge. I didn't care if you thought you was a thug and you had a gun. If it was a problem, you had to see me. And I don't know. For those who believe in God, maybe it was God. For those that don't, maybe I was lucky. On 3 occasions, I was arrested, charged with assault and disorderly conducts, and I was blessed to, not never catch any charge. Never. Every case was dismissed, charges dropped, and in 2 instances, the police testified in my favor, which is rare for a black man. Like usually, if you are charged with something, they're at least gonna have you, try to plead down to a lesser charge. But in each situation, I walked away scot-free. Um, I've had 2 guys pull guns out on me. One of the guys pulled a gun on me 3 times. Hardly anybody knows this story, but when I was living in Tallahassee, Florida, in my last few months down there, I had some issues with a guy from Miami, and every time he seen me, he had to go to the trunk, like he was gonna shoot me, and called me stupid, but I was absolutely fearless and did not care, and I just felt like if you pull the gun, you're gonna have to use it, otherwise I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna beat you with it, and one day I had just got done lifting weights. I went to the track at FAMU to go do a track workout, and I called my boy Brian as I was leaving. And when I got to the gate that led to this like long little stairway out to the parking lot, I seen this crew of guys, and in the crowd was dude from Miami. And he ran to the car, went and got this Nike bag, and inside it had a pistol. And I know because he went and got that Nike bag before. And I told Brian, I was like, yeah, all these dudes are down here. I'm like, they're soft. I'm about to walk straight through the whole crew. And again, call me stupid, fearless, I don't know. I walked through this crew of about 10, anywhere from 10 to 15 guys. I couldn't tell you. And I'm not exaggerating. No, it was about 10 people. They were coming to the field to play flag football. So they had enough for 2 teams. And he walked past me as I walked through the crew. He got on the stairs. And one of his friends said, "You gonna do it from there, cuz? You gonna do it from there?" And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna shoot him from up here. And I told Brian, I was like, I don't know if this dude is finna try to shoot me in my back or what, but I ain't worried about it. And I wasn't. I walked to my car, got in my car, and drove off. Again, maybe blessed, I don't know, maybe just lucky. But later that month, I moved back to Minnesota. I had a few altercations in nightclubs up here, but one time, the last time in 2010, I was walking in my car and I was on Hennepin and 4 guys jumped me. I didn't even know who they were. Total self-defense. I won, by the way. But yeah, 4 guys jumped me and I was charged with assault, charged with disorderly conduct, the routine charges for being in a fight. And luckily, the cop testified in my favor, a lady cop. She said that she saw the whole thing and that I acted in self-defense, and that was dismissed. A few months later, my son was born. And it was at that point I realized I needed to be present and I needed to be able to provide. And that meant I had to change because I was either going to be in jail or I was going to be dead if I continued to handle conflict that way. And so I started to really be patient with myself, manage my conflict differently. And instead of fighting with my hands, I knew I had to fight with my mind because I was an intelligent person, but I just had problems with like processing and like managing my anger. And I realized I gotta stop going into these fits of rage because someone pisses me off. I have to handle this differently. I have to think. I have to use my words, and I have to look for an out and find an exit. And the exit is sometimes behind you or to the side. I don't have to go through somebody, you know. And so as I started to really mature, and you know, for guys, maturity comes late in life. Like ladies, I'm gonna tell you, like we don't start to mature until age 25. So stop getting in serious relationships with us before that, because we still want to play video games and do stupid stuff up until the age of 25. But that's another story. But yeah, like having my son really made me start to realize that I had to manage my anger, realize that there's always going to be conflict, but you don't have to step to another person's level, and you can always be a step down. You can manage conflict by thinking and having conversations, and if need be, just totally walking away. And you don't have to feel like you've lost because you've walked off on that situation. And in fact, you actually win. You win because violence begets more violence, and ultimately there's two losers in that situation. One person dies or one person's hurt and another person goes to jail. Nobody wins. And I needed to start making sure that I was winning conflicts, you know, not only for the sake of my children, but for the sake of myself. And so as I approached 34 years old, I realized that, you know, I have been blessed, or I have been lucky. And I'm just pleased with myself and the growth that I've made. And my only mission is to make sure that I share this message and try to teach people, you know, that are coming up under me to do the same thing and maybe not have to wait until the age of 27 or 34. So stay blessed, y'all.